Imagine waking up every morning to the same sound. A clang of metal, a tray scraping across concrete. No sunlight, no choice, no taste. But this isn't just about bad food, it's about control. Because inside prison walls, every bite tells a story of power, punishment, and survival. Today, we're stepping behind those bars to expose what life on the inside really tastes like. You might think prison food is just bland, maybe overcooked mystery meat or instant noodles from commissary. But the truth is darker, more strategic. In many facilities across America and beyond, what prisoners eat isn't just about nutrition, it's about keeping them obedient, dependent, and sometimes broken. This is exposing prison food, what life on the inside tastes like. And what you're about to see may change how you look at 3 meals a day. Forever. It starts at 4:30 a.m., long before most people's alarms ever ring. Inmates line up, half asleep, holding metal trays that have seen more years than they have. Breakfast comes in seconds. A scoop of grey oatmeal, 1 slice of bread, maybe a hard-boiled egg if they're lucky. Coffee? Instant powder mixed with lukewarm water that tastes like rust. For many, this isn't breakfast. It's survival fuel. And it's not made to be enjoyed. It's made to remind you where you are. Prison food costs the system roughly $2 to $3 per inmate per day. That's less than what most people spend on a cup of coffee. But cutting corners saves millions. And for private prisons, those savings mean profit. One former inmate described it this way. They called it oatmeal, but it was more like punishment in a bowl. Food becomes a language inside. If you're respected, someone trades you an extra slice of bread. If you're hated, they might season your meal with something you'll never see coming. Inside, even breakfast can turn deadly. By noon, the air is thick with tension and the smell of boiled beans. Lunch in most prisons is called a hot meal, but hot doesn't mean fresh or safe. Imagine this. Frozen vegetables thawed and refrozen a dozen times, meat so overcooked it bends, not breaks, and gravy poured over everything, not for taste, but to hide what's underneath. The system feeds nearly 2 million inmates every day, and in that massive operation, food becomes a form of currency. Trade a packet of sugar for protection, a slice of bologna for a phone call, a whole tray for silence. This isn't just a meal, it's an economy, built from hunger, desperation, and survival. One ex-inmate told investigators that sometimes the food was deliberately spoiled. They'd serve chicken that smelled like chemicals, he said. We ate it anyway, because if you complained, you went hungry. But not everyone suffers equally. In some prisons, guards and certain inmates, the trustees, eat differently. Better, cleaner, more. It's a system within a system, a silent hierarchy that divides even the imprisoned. And at the top of that food chain are the people profiting from what's on those trays. Dinner is the last meal, and in some prisons, it's served before sunset. Imagine eating at 4:30 p.m., then nothing until dawn. They call it lockdown fasting. 15 hours without food. 15 hours to think about what you can't have. The menu? Something that looks like meatloaf but isn't. A scoop of beans that taste of salt and despair. Sometimes, a piece of fruit. A luxury so rare it's traded like gold. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. This isn't just bad food. It's a system designed to strip away choice. And with it, dignity. And yet every night, you'll find inmates saving crumbs, hiding crackers, stashing instant coffee under mattresses. Why? because food is the one thing they can still control. Here's what most people don't know. Many prisons rely on inmates themselves to cook and serve the food. The kitchen detail. It's considered a good job. You get extra bread, maybe a second helping, but it comes with danger. You see, the kitchen is the one place where inmates have tools, knives, ladles, boiling water. It's the most dangerous part of any facility. And sometimes, meals aren't the only thing that gets cooked. Whispers spread fast. A guard's meal seasoned with bleach. A rival's tray, accidentally, dropped in the mop bucket. Or worse, food used to settle debts or silence snitches. Inside the kitchen, the menu changes depending on who you are and what you've done. It's not just survival, it's power. And for those running the kitchen, food becomes the ultimate weapon. The contracts, the deals, the profits. Private food suppliers, companies like Aramark and Trinity Services Group, hold multi-million-dollar deals with state prisons. Their mission? Feed inmates for the lowest possible cost. And the results are devastating. Reports have shown food infested with maggots, raw meat served uncooked, and in some cases, food labeled not for human consumption. Still, these companies keep winning contracts because the cheaper they feed inmates, the more money they make. A whistleblower once leaked documents proving corners were being cut deliberately. Her name was redacted in every public record, but her message was clear. We were told to make it look edible, not to make it safe. And the most chilling part? Some of the very officials signing those contracts eat from private buffets in the same building where prisoners starve. If the prison kitchen is the system's hand, then the commissary is its wallet. This is where inmates go when the official meals aren't enough, which, in most cases, is always. Instant noodles, canned tuna, powdered coffee, packets of chips so stale they snap like paper. They cost next to nothing outside, but behind bars, they're everything. A single pack of ramen, 30 cents in the free world, can cost $1.50 inside. Why? Because inside prison walls, inflation isn't measured by economics. It's measured by desperation. You want salt? That's a luxury. You want sugar? That's control. And you want a meal that actually fills you up? You'll have to buy it. For prisoners with no money, hunger becomes punishment all over again. But for those with families on the outside sending cash, food becomes power. Inside, ramen is currency. A pack of noodles can buy a haircut, protection, or even loyalty. One former inmate put it bluntly, ramen replaced cigarettes. It was worth more than money. And that's no exaggeration. Whole underground economies are built around these instant meals. Black markets run by inmates, traded under the watchful eyes of guards who pretend not to see. The commissary was supposed to be a relief, a way for inmates to supplement poor diets. But what it became was another way for the system to profit off hunger. When food becomes a form of control, flavor becomes rebellion. Inside, a dash of spice can feel like freedom. But spices, sauces, and even salt are banned or rationed in many prisons. So inmates improvise. They crush chips into powder to season beans. Use ketchup packets to make fake tomato sauce. Boil ramen in water from coffee pots stolen from guard stations. Inmates become chefs, engineers, and inventors of taste. They call it spread, a meal made from whatever you can get your hands on. Noodles, chips, mayo, beef sticks, all mixed together in a garbage bag or a bucket. Disgusting? Maybe to you. But to them, it's comfort, it's control, it's home. Every spread tells a story of who you were before prison, of where you came from, of what you're still trying to hold on to. We'd sit in a circle, one inmate recalled. We'd cook, talk, laugh. For a minute it felt like we weren't prisoners. just people. But that tiny piece of humanity, that moment of connection, isn't something the system likes. Too much joy, too much community, feels dangerous to those who control the cages. There's a side of prison food you don't see in documentaries, not the tasteless trays, not the smuggled noodles, but the refusal, the act of not eating. Inmates around the world have used hunger strikes as their last weapon. When the system starves you, refusing to eat becomes your protest. A statement that says, "I'd rather die than be controlled." From California to Guantanamo Bay, hunger strikes have exposed abuse, rotten food, contaminated water, maggot infestations. One inmate in Illinois documented every meal for 30 days, each tray more revolting than the last. He described it as unfit for a dog. By the end of the month, his body had withered, but his message had spread across the internet. Others didn't make it that far. In 2013, prisoners at Pelican Bay went on one of the largest hunger strikes in US history. More than 30,000 inmates refused meals. Their demand wasn't luxury, it was dignity. And for a moment, the world finally looked at what was really on those trays. Then there's the darkest side of all, when food itself becomes punishment. In solitary confinement units, inmates can be fed what's called the nutraloaf, a tasteless, colourless brick made of blended leftovers, beans, flour, vegetables, and whatever scraps remain. It's served cold. No utensils, no flavour. They say it meets nutritional requirements. But ask anyone who's eaten it, and they'll tell you it's designed for suffering. "It's not food," one man said. "It's control in solid form." In some prisons, refusing to eat the nutraloaf can earn you more days in solitary. So you either starve or surrender. It's not just the stomach that breaks in prison. It's the spirit. And the food is part of how they do it. Through the years, some inmates have found a way to make their voices heard. Secret recordings, leaked letters, and hidden photos. One letter read, "Every day they feed us slop that even dogs wouldn't touch. But what hurts worse is knowing they don't care if we die from it." Another, from a mother to her son, said, "I sent you money for food, but I can't buy you freedom." In prison, food is never just food. It's communication. It's punishment. It's hope. And those who control the meals control the men. But sometimes, silence breaks. When photos of mouldy trays leaked from a southern facility in 2018, the world got a glimpse, not of hardened criminals, but of human beings treated like livestock. And still, nothing changed. After years behind bars, the first thing most people want when they're free is food. Real food. Warm food. Food that hasn't been boiled, processed, or served through a slot. When former inmate Troy Delgado walked out of California State Prison after 14 years, he didn't cry. He didn't shout. He just whispered one thing to his sister, waiting in the parking lot. "Can we go get breakfast?" They went to a diner, a small place off the highway, nothing fancy. He ordered pancakes, eggs, and orange juice. But when the food arrived, he just stared at it. He said later, "I didn't know what to do. I'd forgotten what freedom tasted like." For 14 years, every meal had been cold or grey. Now there was colour, smell, choice. He took a bite and cried. Troy said the food didn't just taste good, it felt good, because every flavour, every texture reminded him that he was human again. But then, something strange happened. After a few weeks, he stopped going out to eat. He said the noise, the choices, the menus, it all made him anxious. He'd find himself eating ramen in silence, just like before. That's when he realized the food inside hadn't just filled his stomach. It had rewritten his mind, trained him to accept less, to survive on scraps. And that's the cruelest part of all. Even when you leave prison, a piece of it still lives inside you. If you want to understand a society, look at how it feeds its prisoners. Because those trays of grey mush and powdered drinks, they tell a story far bigger than one meal. A story about profit over people, about punishment disguised as policy, and about how dignity can be stripped away, one bite at a time. Prison food is more than bad cooking. It's a mirror, showing what we choose to ignore. That even behind walls, even in cages, the people eating that food are still human. And maybe the real question isn't what life on the inside tastes like. It's whether we've lost our own taste for justice. Because someday, one of those trays could belong to someone you know. A brother, a sister, a friend. And when that happens, you'll realize the truth. No one really leaves the table untouched. This was Exposing Prison Food, What Life on the Inside Tastes Like. If you've ever taken a meal for granted, remember this. Somewhere, someone's eating their punishment instead of their dinner. And the worst part? They stopped tasting it a long time ago.